Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. Really. Even with having well eaten a good lunch, falling asleep in my neighborhood, Bali in our hair, or me Bali on my head, to wake everybody up. But to come back to small islands, and what small islands do, or what it means, we can start off with culture. Starting off with culture, we find people like Alston, who are artists, who go beyond their own borders, beyond the small islands that they come from, and make a mark on the world. But before I say what I'm going to say, let me congratulate and thank Jeffrey Lippman. You made it possible. The two of you are friends, and if he's here because of you, and it is important. And this is WTN to the core. We build a circle of friends. And through this building of friends, we find that small islands become a continent, because it is friends that are in every part of the world that become ambassadors for us. And when they're doing that, we find that we succeed by not only having our president sitting in the US, Dr. Peter Talo and Jeff and Jorgen, but that it is all of us together that makes it. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. So to come back with the, no, wait, no, forgot this. We're just starting. To come back to small islands and what it means, what it does. When we talk about culture, his son, that is culture. But we also have culture. This morning we saw a great-grandmother with a great-granddaughter and one in between that performed. This is also culture. Culture at its roots. But culture means what? People. Obviously, you've got no people, you've got no culture. And if you've got no culture, do you really have a tourism industry that stands? Or is it a glass bowl that you sit and look at? I want to invite another person to come up, because that's also culture. It's people. Madam, please, I promised you I would call you on stage. You can't say no, everybody's looking at you. Well, culture means people. 3 islands, 3 different people. And yet we are all islanders. Bali, Sri Lanka, and me from Seychelles. I brought this young lady, well, she tells me she's not young, but she looks very young. This young lady, and we chatted at lunch, we chatted this morning, because I said, what makes tourism tick at the end? And it is much easier for small island states to echo this togetherness that we can do, because from small islands, we all know each other. From small islands, Seychelles with its 100,000 inhabitants, we know everyone. Bali has many more. Sri Lanka has many more. But that spirit, that big cities, New York or Washington, London or Paris, it's impossible. Impossible because you are numbers. And this is why tourism works. When the spirit of personalized manner or aspect takes the upper hand on just the numbers game. They'll know the inhabitants of their respective islands like I do in Seychelles. London or Paris, New York, you are there in flat number 462 or 2052, nobody knows you. It's the same for tourism. This is why running after numbers don't work. It is having that discerning traveler that really wants to see you, that really wants to appreciate your island or your city, understand your culture, meet the people. And this is where I think today, as we start off this afternoon session, it's important for everybody to appreciate the idea. Small islands are important. Important because we set the bar much higher than capital cities, much, much higher. Because for tourism to work in Sri Lanka, Seychelles, or Bali, we know each other. We know who is the waitress in that restaurant. We know who's the cook in that hotel. We know who's the GM down the road. We know the taxi driver and we know the guides. But in a big city, it's just a number. It can come from anywhere in the world. And sometimes they give you the wrong information. Thank you very much. I wanted them to see you together with the staff.
Thank you for having me.
So, small island states is reflective of where we want tourism to go. Jeffrey Lippman can talk until he's blue in the face with Jed Brown. They can keep talking about preserving, but that drive inside the human nature of believing that tourism works when we fill planes arrive one after the other, and that the country that you are visiting is destroyed in certain way. How do you find this balance? Is look at small islands. Look at what small islands do, because the effort being put by each and every small island is reflective of where tourism should go. We might not all agree that we've succeeded, every small island has succeeded, but we all have the mission of succeeding. I watched this week when Mauritius and Bali, well, not Bali, Maldives had reached 1.4 million this year so far, visitor arrivals. It's a lot. But the numbers often confuse you because Maldives, you don't go to one island. I think a few thousand of them, and people spread out on these islands. Even though the numbers come into Mali, they're not all sitting in Mali. So it's an advantage that they have. Bali, unfortunately, if you went into millions and millions, they'll all be here and you won't be able to get to the conference at all. You'll be stuck at the airport. There'll be such a traffic jam. So we need to find that balance. But who does the carrying capacity? Is it us, the islanders, or is it a team of professionals? And there are professionals that do that. You'll be amazed. They'll assess your water treatment. They'll assess your garbage plots. They'll assess everything down the line. And if a group like Lippman would say, I prepare your plan B, if that's what he can say, Jeffrey, would it not be a success to empower him to work with the Ministry of Tourism, to work with the Department of Finance of Bali, of Indonesia, and all these other countries that are looking at tourism? How do we pick that balance that keeps going? I say that because I listened attentively this morning to everybody who spoke. Attentively because it is easy for us to forget. We get embodied, yes, we're succeeding. Yes, we're succeeding. Will my kids and grandkids succeed after that? Or I'll leave nothing for them? Will I burn them to death because the ozone layer is gone? I looked at the clip that was put just now with the song by Alston. The pile of rubbish that we see collected? Should it not worry everybody? We want to know what to do with it. Maldives as an island, just with rubbish. It's called the rubbish island. How can we keep on? Because rubbish, never forget. You pile it, you put a bulldozer, it crushes it, and the sources come out on the sides everywhere, back into the sea. Do the best treatment that you want, it ends up into the sea. We have that problem in Seychelles. Occasionally it catches fire by itself, and it burns all night. And you find smoke annoys the population. So we need to be realistic how much more rubbish we can have, because how much more hotel rooms that we have. We're all humans. I mean, we're all staying here. We're all putting things in the garbage bin. And to feed us, they've got more garbage bins. So there's a plus that keeps on adding. This morning, listening to Jeffrey, when he gave a challenge to the governor, and it got me thinking that we really need, it's like a task force to work with, maybe through WTN, to work with countries. If Bali, as we are all in Bali, if moody, you can, having you there, we don't feel moody, we feel a good mood. If you can spark Bali, and I know the representatives of tourism are here, to say, be the trial case. Let us find a Jeffrey Lipman and his group to say, we will work with Bali. Make Bali that first point of call that people will use as the example. That would make news for you. You would benefit more tourism out of it, maybe it counteract as well. But people will say they are serious. They're serious because they've looked for experts whose job it is. They preach it. So let them put it in practice and say, where can Bali go before Bali destroys itself? I don't know the place where, I know there's a lady from Australia. There's a little town in a little street that's full of Australians. And you don't really see Bali people, you see Australians. If that was replicated all over Bali, would that be Bali? Or we would have a bastardized Bali that destroys itself? I'm saying that because this morning you managed to convince my own mind. I believe in sustainable tourism. But Jeffrey this morning opened that gate. I mean, my name is St.Ange, I'm a holy angel. And holy angels see further afield. But between Jed and Jeffrey, you managed to get me to think the time is now. And it is needed. It's needed for us to reflect, to open that dialogue, to open that reflection panel, and say, where do we start protecting and stop the destruction? We might not think we are destroying, but small islands are vulnerable. Today you find sea level rise, coral bleaching, and then it keeps going and it keeps going. We suffer what Bali suffers, and Sri Lanka suffers what Seychelles suffers. We all in the same boat, from the Pacific to the Caribbeans. Everybody today is worried about coral bleaching, sea level rise. We are that barometer to say if we are on the right path or if something needs to be done. And I think Bali, because of your position, you are part of a big country, you are an example of success, yes. But maybe you can open the door for reflection much faster. And I would, Madam Director of Marketing, don't be shy to speak to Jeffrey. Tell him, how do I work with you? How do I pick your brain? And then, Dr. Talo, you cannot have tourism without security. How do you benefit from him? Yes, you've had some bad experiences in the past that the whole world was shocked. Can it be prevented? Maybe. There are experts that do that speak about it, but also guide you. I say this as we talk about the importance of small islands. Nothing happens by itself. This is true. We know. If you want tourism, you've developed it, your predecessor, the minister, the governor, you've all made it happen. And then you've had good friends. I mean, Jorgen, who started his eTurbo News here, helped put you on the map as Bali. And today you are a destination in itself, forgetting that you are part of Indonesia. But how do you move from now? Where do you go from now? And I think if WTN can end their conference in Bali with a success line, is to see how experts in their respective field can develop around one destination, like Bali, and say we want to save one. If Bali you say, then it will be Sri Lanka, then it will be Seychelles, and it will be other countries. Because today we are on a slippery slope, and it'll keep getting more slippery. I can't blame sea level rise or coral bleaching for losing my hair. That's because my parents lost it and my grandparents lost it. But the thing is never to be shy that you don't have hair. I mean, there are two of us in here, four of us. Because with a name like St.Ange, I go to the Lord often. And he told me, he said, I created very few perfect heads. The rest I covered with hair. So we should all be happy that ours are perfect. But small tourism destinations, yes, it brings planes. And often, unfortunately, much to Jeffrey Lipman's annoyance probably, they are long-haul destinations. Pacific, Caribbean, Indian Ocean, Vanilla Islands, Bali. We have to use planes. Yes, you're doing a road here in Indonesia. But most of us are plane rides. And plane carbon, that's service. And when we do a conference, we have even more people coming. And if it was a conference of head of states here, you'd find the airport, there'd be no parking space, all private jets. So we keep looking for the remedy, but we're also using the development of the same cancer at the same time. So it's a difficult navigation point. And small islands feel it before big countries. If we become the example, we would probably help save the world. And I would really implore Bali, because we are in Bali, let's be the role model of that transformation. Be the role model of that new concept of looking at security, the preservation of what we have, the ability to say, all the young Balinese, I suppose you call yourself, all the young Bali people that are here growing up today, will they have Bali in 20 years? When we listened to Jed this morning, speaking about doubling the quantity of tourists in 30 years, from 1.5 billion to, is that what you said, Jed, I think? To 3 billion people. Can you imagine the young Bali people today, what they must be saying to themselves? Why is nobody listening to us? So if that is what we can help, let WTN Summit of Bali be the place where Tourism Bali, Tourism Indonesia sits with the experts that do it. I'm not the expert. I take a mic and babble on, but the experts are there. They are with you. They can guide you. Sustainable tourism, safety in tourism, and with Jorgen, visibility in tourism. He will destroy what the other two are doing, but you need him anyway to keep going. So my appeal to everybody this afternoon, It's good that you're hosting a conference in Bali. It is very good. But what resolutions will we leave tomorrow afternoon? What do we have in our pockets when we go? What is it that we will depart Bali with and say, the Bali conference, Bali summit, not even conference, time 2023 left us with this. Maybe we need a change in the agenda by tomorrow afternoon to have resolutions. And there you'll need the two people from the Ministry of Tourism to be sitting up here and saying, yes, if you believe it, and the gentleman with the perfect head believes it, you will be able to convince your minister. Ministers are convinced by technocrats. And if you are a good technocrat, you'll convince them faster. If that's a resolution that Bali can adopt, I think your work with Moody would have succeeded. And I really implore everybody, we can have a long format of meetings, panelists after panelists. But if there's no resolution of something that to make the difference, time 23 in Bali marked it with a difference because we have a resolution for the future. It would make a difference. And I know I saw somebody who's French who was talking to the young lady, he's disappeared. I implore now the business community of Bali to join forces with the two of you. Make that the call of this conference. And you'll find that, yes, we might mark this event as never been marked before. You have the ability to do it. So let's do it. And Moody, I suppose they'll declare you Queen Moody if you are able to do that. But I think it's something that is needed. So what else after this? Tourism by itself, small island states, we thrive because there are bigger countries that send us people. So we keep going there. We keep looking for it. I've been in trade fairs since I was 21. Every year, the list of them, one after the other. ITB, WTN, Topresa in France, the one in Madrid, the New York Trade Fair. We keep going because we're looking for people. We want to be the most visible destination. Seychelles is lucky, it's seen as the high-end tourism. So we're lucky. When Prince William and Kate Middleton chose Seychelles for their honeymoon, they gave us a boost. But bending the rules of not using them as publicity, we just had to say Prince William is honeymooning in Seychelles, it was enough. Every press descended, so you had hotels full of press. But using the visibility that is possible. Don't just encourage people to be here, to spend nothing. You can't stop them. But you also can pitch your marketing that you do at a level that will help do what Jeffrey is trying to do, protect your destination. I'll leave you with these few words. I'm not sure what I'm meant to say about small island states, but small island states, sorry? But small island states are small island states, and they are part of the bigger component of world tourism. They keep airlines flying, this is for sure. And if you looked at Bali when I landed last night, you find I didn't even realize you had so many that came. But you'll want more, because you'll want more hotels. It's normal. But let us use the experts. Security. Long-term tourism. Let us be seen as the good custodians. Each one of us can be a good custodian of what we have been blessed with. We've been blessed with a perfect world. Let's leave a better world by the time we go. Thank you very much and have a nice afternoon.
All right, before reviewing the video greetings from Carpet Q, the chairman of the African Tourism Board, I would like to invite Jürgen as chairman to brief a little bit about the video.
And yes, before we go to the video from the African Tourism Board Chairman, Cuthbert Nkubi, I'd like to invite Dr. Peter Charlo. I never call him doctor, so but he is a doctor. And the Honorable Alain St. to come back here, because here you see the three people, and there's one gentleman missing, what is Dr. Taleb Rifai. You all know him as the former Secretary General for UN WTO, who actually started the African Tourism Board. It was our initiative we did to help Africa to join in tourism, to see tourism not only as a product of one country or one region, but as the entire continent. We did this, we decided to go ahead in 2017 at the World Travel Market in London, who invited us. We had 14 ministers there, and we moved forward, and then we went to Cape Town and launched the organization at the World Travel Market in Cape Town, and at the same time appointed a chairman, what was Cuthbert Nkubi. He's still the chairman. We're no longer actively involved in it, but we still have the website. We help with the WhatsApp discussion group. And the African Tourism Board is now based in Eswatini and has been very active, just became an affiliated member of the African Union. And so we're proud really to have this put into the world as the greater part of the World Tourism Network now, what gives Africa also an extra reach outside Africa. And we actually have one lady here from Kenya. She will be sharing with us a little bit more later on in the session about how African SMEs like to work with Indonesia and how back and forth there are new opportunities. But I just wanted to say this to give a little bit of background on the African Tourism Board. We're going to show the greeting from Cuthbert Nkubi, who is the chairman. He was trying to be with us, but couldn't get air travel arranged. Thank you very much.
In today's globalization and highly competitive business environment, international tourism and hospitality need to constantly adopt and modify its structures and objectives to remain profitable, to remain sustainable, and to remain relevant. May I congratulate Mr. Yege, the founder and president of the World Tourism Network, to have spearheaded this great initiative by hosting the Bali International Met Expo 2023, where travel business and government dialogue together and the showcasing of various services, products from across the world. I would have loved to be there with you today in Bali, to learn, to be sharpened, and to share and enjoy the exploration of this most amazing destination. But due to some other pressing issues, I am not able to be with you. May I appreciate the government of Bali, especially the Honorable Minister and all stakeholders who rallied behind this great event. We thank you so much for being part of the championing the cause of our tourism sector. And to our colleagues, our associates, tourism champions, our exhibitors, we have traveled from across the globe. May this be an opportunity to do business, to seal deals, and have fun, and explore all corners of this mighty, majestic tourism destination, the wonder of Bali. May you create great memories, create good contacts, and create friends. I thank you. Have a good day.